Hi, and welcome to Three Questions With. Today, my guest is my friend Don Pease from Don Sign Tech. Hey, Don, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. I'm always happy to be here.
So, Don, I want to talk about signs today because I know I'm a small business owner and we're all trying to find affordable, and I've made the mistake. I go out and buy a little A-frame sign for my events. I put them outside and it rains and my sign's wrecked. So sometimes there's more than just cost to consider, right?
Absolutely. It depends on what you're doing with it. How long do you want it to last? Do you want to be able to reuse it inside, outside? How long? So are you going to be picking it up and throwing it in the back of your truck, or are you going to handle it gently every time you handle it? So you have to take into consideration the materials, their costs, and what you're going to do with it.
So, Don, one of the things that you talk about a lot, and I know it now, is you got to know what the rules are in your town. Because some people, maybe they have an A-frame, or you get this beautiful sign on your building and go, oh, by the way, that's against code. And now you just spent a lot of money on a sign, they hung it, looks beautiful, and someone comes, hey, get that down.
Yeah. So before you sign a lease, you're looking at a building that you say, I think this is a good location. Look at the building and see what the other signs are like. If all you see are channel letters, illuminated channel letters, check into the cost of those, because chances are the building is only going to allow channel letters on it. If you go to a different building and you're seeing the signs all look different, check with the building owner, see what he's going to allow. Then you need to check with the town, because the town actually sometimes have different rules for different buildings. Even though they've got, a standard sign bylaw, those bylaws may not apply to just that building. And I've run into that before too. So before you sign a lease, look at what's on the building, check with the town and the landlord as to what you're going to be allowed before you sign anything.
You bring up a great point. In my previous life, I worked in a building that was in a historical district, and we wanted to change the front of the building, and they're like, you got to keep it with the same type of historical. So that becomes a factor too, right?
It does. Some towns have what's referred to as a design review board, and there's no real cost associated with it, but you do have to go to a meeting and you have to answer questions. They're trying to keep certain parts of the town looking the same. So downtown Andover doesn't allow illuminated signs. North Andover doesn't allow any illuminated signs, but they have design review in Andover, and it's to make sure that everything looks like it belongs there. They don't want any big neon signs hanging up in the middle of downtown along with all these colonial styled signs. So you have design review, you have planning board that you have to deal with. And then, of course, there's historic, and that becomes a whole different ball of wax, because a lot of times they want you to use materials that are labor expensive, we'll call it, and that rot. Most of the signs today, we don't use wood, we don't use products that rot anymore. So, trying to explain to historic, look, we can make it look like it's made of wood, but it won't be, so it won't rot. We can give it the same look, but some historic commissions don't care. It has to be made of wood. So those are all things that you'll have to deal with too.
John, one of the challenges in your industry and many of our industries is like, I know, I'll just go online and buy something. Mm-hmm. And I've seen people do it over and over again, and then they get it and they're like, that wasn't what I wanted. So one of the features you have is your experience. Going, Kev, I know you're thinking this is what you want, but with all my experience, may I suggest something that's going to fit your needs better? And then you see that light go on going, you know what, Don, I never thought of that. So sometimes, like I said, I can see why we're doing it. Maybe it's a little more affordable, but you don't know what you're getting. And what you're not getting is your experience to say, hey, this is a better direction for you to go. It's going to be a better sign for you. So that's what you bring to the table, right?
Absolutely. So that happens a lot too. I have people who ask me if I'll compete with an online company, and I have to tell them no.
No.
They're not installers, they're not carrying the level of insurance, and they're not going to advise you at all. They're just you're going to click a button and they're going to give you what you clicked on. And if you gave them bad artwork, too bad. So I can make suggestions on artwork. I can make suggestions on materials. I can ask for a budget. What kind of money do you want to spend, so that I don't show you something you can't afford, or I try to find a less expensive alternative for you that will still last. So that's the important part, is being able to talk to a real person and being able to talk to somebody who wants to educate you. It happens too often. I had, clients come to me and say, well, they just told me that this is all I could have, and that if I didn't like it, too bad. No. That's not the way it's supposed to work. And still the same in everything. The customer still is always right. So you got to give them what they want, what's going to work. You got to ask them questions so that they can answer them. You can give them what they need.
We have to ask a bonus question now because you brought it up. Because I see this all the time, Dawn. You have to have good artwork where someone will try to take, a logo or something and try to stretch it and make it bigger or smaller. And then it goes on a sign and it looks really, really bad. Artwork is really important, right?
It is. You might come up with somebody who has a round logo and then they've got a rectangular sign because that's all it's going to fit in the space that they're given. So you have to be able to manipulate it. Somebody sends me a JPEG, there's not much I can do with it, and then having to explain what an EPS is and why I need it in that format. That means it's vector or it's lines. It means I can separate it. The other thing that happens is they think that they can take the JPEG that they use to make their little tiny business card and that they can expand it big enough, to make a 12 square foot sign, and wonder why you can't read it. So yeah. Those are all important things, the right formats, being able to break it apart and move it around so it still looks like theirs but fits within the space it's given. So that's not something that the online companies will tell you. If you download a picture of your business cards, that's what your sign's going to look like.
Yeah, and that's really important. All right, Dawn, so how do people reach out to you? How can I learn more, my friend?
All kinds of different ways. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook. I have a website, dawnsigntechinc.net. And you can call me, 978-208-0012. Whatever way works for you.
Awesome, Dawn. I really appreciate your time to come on the show.
Thank you for having me. As always, have a great rest of the day.
You too. You just watched 3 Questions with Dawn from Dawn Sign Tech. For more information about the New England B2B Network Group, visit our website, newenglandb2bnetworking.com.